Okay, everyone, so we will begin. Welcome, welcome. So happy that you can be with us today. This is our laughter seminar, just so you know. If you look at that little cute onion, feel so bad from up there. Great, he cut himself. Now we're all going to start crying. So we love to be laughing. We love to be silly. The one thing I don't like about the masks is, what can't you see? Right, you can't see my smile. You can't see if I'm laughing. But I do see a benefit. If I go like this, it's like a double chin hider. Isn't that awesome? That is so awesome. Absolutely. So there are a lot of benefits there. So what we want to do, though, we do want to have a word of prayer. You actually are in the right class. This is immunity. So we are talking about your immune system, your best PPE, which is your personal protective equipment. Yay, praise God. So let's bow our heads. Father God, thank you so much for the ability to come together, Lord, and learn about your remedies. Learn about the immune system that you gave each one of us, Lord, that can fight infections and viruses and other ailments, Lord. Help us to be able to listen and learn and be able to help others with all this great information. And we ask this in your name, Jesus. Amen. All right. So here we are. Welcome, welcome. I'm Jennifer McCahan. I'm a dietitian. I'm licensed, registered, a nutritionist. I've been doing that for about 24 years now. I have my own private practice. I'm in school in the Institute of Original Medicine, and I am studying to be an naturopathic doctor of original medicine, and hopefully I will be done by December. So yeah, God has led me to help others learn about what's true about natural health and about nutrition, and I'm just so happy he could use me as an instrument, and I pray that he works through me today. So we all know that hey, eating healthy, right? It's going to help our immune system, right? So we have wonderful blueberries in the picture. We have avocado, pumpkin, apple, broccoli, oatmeal. We have all these amazing foods, and all of them have antioxidants. And they're so beautiful and colorful, and they really help increase our immune system. And we will talk more about those. And right now, we're going to watch a video about the immune system.
A mosquito lands on your arm, injects its chemicals into your skin, and begins to feed. You wouldn't even know it was there if not for the red lump that appears, accompanied by a telltale itch. It's a nuisance, but that bump is an important signal that you're protected by your immune system, your body's major safeguard against infection, illness, and disease. This system is a vast network of cells, tissues, and organs that coordinate your body's defenses against any threats to your health. Without it, you'd be exposed to billions of bacteria, viruses, and toxins that could make something as minor as a paper cut or a seasonal cold fatal. The immune system relies on millions of defensive white blood cells, also known as leukocytes, that originate in our bone marrow. These cells migrate into the bloodstream and the lymphatic system, a network of vessels which helps clear bodily toxins and waste. Our bodies are teeming with leukocytes. There are between 4,000 and 11,000 in every microliter of blood. As they move around, leukocytes work like security personnel, constantly screening the blood, tissues, and organs for suspicious signs. This system mainly relies on cues called antigens. These molecular traces on the surface of pathogens and other foreign substances betray the presence of invaders. As soon as the leukocytes detect them, it takes only minutes for the body's protective immune response to kick in. Threats to our bodies are hugely variable, so the immune response has to be equally adaptable. That means relying on many different types of leukocytes to tackle threats in different ways. Despite this diversity, we classify leukocytes in two main cellular groups, which coordinate a two-pronged attack. First, phagocytes trigger the immune response. by sending macrophages and dendritic cells into the blood. As these circulate, they destroy any foreign cells they encounter, simply by consuming them. That allows phagocytes to identify the antigen on the invaders they just ingested and transmit this information to the second major cell group orchestrating the defense, the lymphocytes. A group of lymphocyte cells called T cells go in search of infected body cells and swiftly kill them off. Meanwhile, B cells and helper T cells use the information gathered from the unique antigens to start producing special proteins called antibodies. This is the pièce de résistance. Each antigen has a unique matching antibody that can latch onto it like a lock and key and destroy the invading cells. B cells can produce millions of these, which then cycle through the body and attack the invaders until the worst of the threat is neutralized. While all of this is going on, familiar symptoms like high temperatures and swelling are actually processes designed to aid the immune response. A warmer body makes it harder for bacteria and viruses to reproduce and spread because they're temperature sensitive. And when body cells are damaged, they release chemicals that make fluid leak into the surrounding tissues, causing swelling. That also attracts phagocytes, which consume the invaders and the damaged cells. Usually, an immune response will eradicate a threat within a few days. It won't always stop you from getting ill, but that's not its purpose. Its actual job is to stop a threat from escalating to dangerous levels inside your body. And through constant surveillance over time, the immune system provides another benefit. It helps us develop long-term immunity. When B and T cells identify antigens, they can use that information to recognize invaders in the future. So when a threat revisits, the cells can swiftly deploy the right antibodies to tackle it before it affects any more cells. That's how you can develop immunity to certain diseases, like chickenpox. It doesn't always work so well. Some people have autoimmune diseases, which trick the immune system into attacking the body's own perfectly healthy cells. No one knows exactly what causes them, but these disorders sabotage the immune system to varying degrees and underlie problems like arthritis, type 1 diabetes, and multiple sclerosis. For most individuals, however, a healthy immune system will successfully fight off an estimated 300 colds and innumerable other potential infections over the course of a lifetime. Without it, those threats would escalate into something far more dangerous. So the next time you catch a cold or scratch a mosquito bite, think of the immune system. We owe it our lives. TED-Ed is a nonprofit. If you value our work, please consider supporting it on patreon.com/TEDEd.
All right. So wasn't that interesting? Boy, I cannot explain it like it did in that short video. But I'll tell you, our immune system was wonderfully made, and it just fights off so much that we can't even fathom. A lot of people will say, okay, well, I'm sick. My immune system must not be working. But that's actually the opposite. That when you are sick, and praise God we do get sick, because that means our immune system is working, right? So our amazing body, we have so many wonderful things, such as our skin, the longest organ. We have a barrier, right, that protects us. It breathes, absorbs, and throws off waste. Even our head, the hairs on our head protect us, right? Our earwax in our ears also protects us. Our eyes, we have our eyelashes to get out particles. Also, we have a bony structure here around the eyes for protection because they're very vital. Our nose actually has grooves inside it, which impure air falls off, and then good air goes into our lungs. It's pretty neat. Mucus traps microbes and fights the battles for our immune system. So a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, I have, so much mucus. But that mucus is actually doing its job by getting rid of microbes, bacteria, viruses, things like that. So it traps those particles and gets rid of them, expels them from our body. So it's pretty fascinating. Next we have hydrochloric acid in our stomach. Did you all know that that helps, digestion? But it also helps destroy bacteria in our body. amazing. And also, we have a mind-body connection. Do you know like 80 to 90% of illness is in the mind? There's been studies, too, that show that a group of people were labeled diabetic. And just because they were labeled diabetic, that their blood sugar actually increased. That is the power of the mind, okay? Our mind is amazing. And there's a lot of evidence that the way we think is like what we become, who we are, right? And also, let's look at this. Let's look at the next slide. How do you feel? Yeah, not too good, right? No. So that, would you say that induces stress maybe? Yeah. So we're not created to look at that kind of stuff, I don't think. But if you look at this next picture, and it's so vibrant, that's beautiful. That's nature, right? How does that make you feel? Awesome. Nice and relaxed. We just want to go there now, don't we? Oh, just amidst all the chaos that's going on in the world, it's amazing that we could just go out to nature and find beauty. And we have to make this happen. We have to make it happen daily. The next thing I want to talk about is laughter, right? Laughter is a good medicine, right? Proverbs 17:22. A merry heart does good like medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones. This is so true, everyone. So we have to be positive in this negative world, right? We have to be. We have to be good to ourselves. We have to be good to others. We have to lift up others. Hugging people and being hugged. So right now with COVID and the pandemic and everything that's going on, all the just evilness that's going on in this world, we have to make sure that we hug our family at least and our close friends if we're able to. That's very important because we all know you need at least 8 hugs a day, right? So let's make sure we do that. Even if we don't feel like hugging our spouse or our child, we need to do it. We need to make it happen. And once you do that hug, everything, just the stress goes away. We need that personal touch, and it's very important. Lighten up. God tells us to be only concerned about today and not tomorrow, right? We only have enough trouble in one day to handle. So why worry about yesterday? Let it go. Give it to God. That's what the Bible says. Tomorrow, let's not worry about it. And remind ourselves and our family and our friends and our loved ones not to worry about this. So if somebody's talking to you and complaining about things that may happen in the future, we just have to stop and say, hey, let's let it go. We're only worrying about today, one day at a time, right? I'm preaching to myself too. And we want to laugh, 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 and laugh. So when life is stressful, right, what do we want to do? That's right. That's right. Let's remember that. So here's a beautiful sunflower field with some laughter. Yeah, just such nice radiant colors and just such beauty. What helps your immunity? What do you think, guys? What helps your immunity? Yep. Sunlight, yes. That's right. Yeah, this is all important stuff, and that's actually, we talk about that as the 8 laws of health. So when we talk about the 8 laws of health, it's nutrition, exercise, water, sun, trust in God, air, rest, and temperance. So those are the 8 laws of health, and sometimes we forget about those. Sometimes if we're really stressed, have a lot of work to do, sometimes that lack of sleep could play a part, right? So let's talk about nutrition for a minute. The best diet is actually a plant-based diet, right? God has given us amazing herbs, it's in the Bible, that we are to eat to nourish our body. And people may think, okay, well, where's the protein? How do you get the protein that I need? We all see commercials, right? Protein, lots of it, muscle building. But when we look at a gorilla eats a plant-based diet, right? So how is the gorilla that big? Those building blocks, how did the gorilla get so big, right? By eating plant-based. And our bodies and our cells are similar to that of a plant. And we need that chlorophyll, and we need a lot of it. So eating greens is imperative. We need to do that. We need to do that for our immune system and for our body to function the best it can. I used to think I was like so awesome with my diet and eating just like green beans for dinner. Like I was like, oh, well, I had green beans. Doesn't that count? But my goodness, we need lots and lots of greens. We need lots of raw. We need lots of food that is going to totally nourish us and be live. So it's very important. Among nutrition, we have exercise. And exercise is really important because what we put in, right, needs to come out. And with exercise, we can actually get rid of our impurities. Isn't that what it's about? We want to make sure those toxins are out. So sweating is very important. We have to make sure that we're able to sweat and get these poisons out of our body. So doing even 10, 15 minutes a day is really important. The best exercise is walking. A brisk walk would be great outside. Look at that. We get fresh air, right? And our body needs that. There's so many amazing nutrients in the air that we don't even realize, and we need that. It's important. So gyms are great. I'm glad that they're are open, and I'm glad we could go there, but it's really important that we're outside too. Just like, when gardening, things like that. So exercise is important. Even taking like a 10-minute walk, a brisk walk in the morning, that is amazing because what happens is it takes away stress. Did you know that? We can actually refresh our mind, renew our mind, which we need nowadays, right? We need that. So make time. Make time for you. Make time for your family. Make time for your friends. And make sure that, if you're going to get together, why not talk and walk? It's so important. So it'll help our mind, and it'll also help the nutrients get to the cells that they need to get into. So it's not all about nutrition. So exercise is very important, and we need to exercise. It would be nice to do 30 minutes a day, at least 5 days a week. So along with exercise, like I said before, it would be water. Water is the single most important nutrient. Water helps us get our nutrients and our vitamins, our minerals, everything that we need, right? We need enough water in our bodies to do that. It helps with elasticity. It helps us move. It helps our regularity. There's so many organs and systems and pathways that water is essential for. So if we forget to drink, that's sort of a no-no. We have to make sure that we drink. And when we drink, we want to drink distilled water. We want to drink pure water that has been distilled. And you might say, where's the minerals? Well, distilled water is actually has a very high energy load. It actually helps our body absorb our nutrients better. So there's issues with soil not having enough minerals in it, but we can actually add some of those if we need to. But there's a lot of minerals just outside in the fresh air that God gives us. It's amazing. So along with water, the next thing would be sun. And sun is just a wonderful, wonderful thing to be outside and to, it's good for us to go outside for like 15 minutes a day between like the hours of 11 and 1 and to get that sunshine. It's good to get it on our face and our hands, on our back. That helps our vitamin D be processed and absorbed, and it's really important that we do that. So even when it's cold, it's nice to go outside and get that vitamin D, okay? Because a lot of Americans, it's showing that we're very, very, very low in vitamin D, and that's not good for our immune system. So we have to make sure that we are able to get the vitamin D. And sun also helps regulate blood pressure. How amazing is that? Sun alone can actually help people with their blood pressure regulation. So it's really important that we get the sun. And then also the next thing we're going to talk about is trust, right? Trust in God. He has done amazing things for us. He has created us wonderfully. There's so many wonderful natural things that He's given us for our bodies to be able to function optimally. And we just need to have faith in Him. We need to trust Him. It's just a wonderful thing. And if you have issues with the faith aspect, there's books that can help. The first one I would say is the Bible. Open up and get closer to Jesus. Learn who He is, because it's amazing. So we need to just trust in God and let things go. The next thing we're going to talk about is air. So air is full of nutrients, like I mentioned before. It's wonderful to go outside first thing in the morning and actually get an air bath. It actually helps clean us up. Isn't that amazing? Like just to go outside and have that air hit us? Yeah, it's wonderful. So we need to be able to do that and do it daily. It's important. So making sure that we're outside more. Inside, there's actually a handout out there about just all the toxins indoors. And that plants, if you have different plants, they could actually help get rid of poisons and toxins in your environment within 100 feet. So we want to make sure that we do that, but also open your windows and let that air in, let it clean that, just get fresh air in so the germs can go away. The sun could beat in there, and it's just a wonderful thing to do. The next thing would be, besides air, is we have rest. So how important is rest? Right. We have to get like 7 to 8 hours of sleep. It's so important. Our body needs to rest. Our mind needs to rest, right? And rest is just something that if we don't do in a healthy manner to get that 7 or 8 hours, everything can be off. Did anybody just never sleep like one night? Did you have that experience before? And it is awful. You can't function. You can't think. So making sure that you're restful, making sure that you don't want to eat late at night. You want to refrain from all the media. You want to just refrain from that. You may be able to go for a walk or go for a bath. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, how amazing baths are. But you just want to be able to relax and be able to have restful sleep. And also to have those rest periods throughout the day where you just stop and reflect and pray. Because without that, we can continue on. But it's just not good for our mind. So we want to have that time where we might meditate and pray to our Lord to be able to stop and just reflect and be mindful of what's happening right now. And not thinking about tomorrow or what I'm going to do next, but just be mindful. So that's really important. As far as rest, it's good to have a Sabbath rest. We believe that you need one day to be able just to say, forget it. Lord, I'm here for you. I'm going to be able to help serve others. I'm going to get close and open the Bible and learn more and just be able to commune with the Lord and forget about all the worries of today, right? And then we have temperance. So temperance is like, just for instance, like eating in moderation. We do not want to do things that we overindulge in, whether it's media, whether it's food, whatever it is, we want to be temperate in it. So very important laws of health. The next thing we're going to talk about is vitamins and minerals, and that we need those, right? Because our soil's depleted, and we might not get it all in the foods that we eat. So sometimes we'll need to actually do things that supplement, like some powders that are nutrient-rich that we'll talk about soon, that we could help and increase our immune system. Herbs and adaptogens are things we're going to talk about too that actually can help play and increase our immune system. Hydrotherapy, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, and that hydrotherapy is just wonderful. Hydrotherapy is, it acts through the nervous system. Like medication, it acts on the brain centers and their extensions, and then through the reflex areas. Function is stimulated or reduced by means of temperatures used and the length of application. Friction accompanying the application of hydrotherapy also adds and prolongs its effectiveness. So what are the advantages of hydrotherapy, right? We're talking about water therapy. It accomplishes its results through external application and can be used locally. And its effects aren't toxic, like some medications, right? We know that any medication is finally destroyed by the liver, burned in the metabolic processes, or excreted by the excretory system, and it puts a tax on organs. So if there's a way that we can actually get healing naturally, then we need to try to do that. Because it's, just with hydrotherapy, we're using water, it's not costly, it's a simple remedy. It adds no toxins to be destroyed or eliminated. It increases metabolism to get rid of the toxins already present in us. And after hydrotherapy, there's a feeling of well-being, a wonderful renewal that drugs lack. So hydrotherapy is wonderful. We did talk about laughter too. And then next we have breathing. Okay, so how many of us, even though we are breathing because we're living, how many of us really forget to breathe right? Right? So what do we breathe? Through our nose, right? So we breathe through our nose, right? We're going to do that right now. Everybody breathe through your nose. Hold it for 5 seconds. And then let it out through your mouth. That process alone, that deep breathing, that when your abdomen goes out, right? That is amazing. It's restoration. It's circulation. It's actually putting oxygen more in our system so our cells work better. So we get nourished better. So breathing right is so important. You could actually help. I was reading about breathing when I was doing this research for this presentation, and it was showing that there's actually some breathing mechanisms you can do that actually will help even get rid of bacteria, viruses, just get it out. And it's the longer the exhale to try to get these things out of our body. So it's very interesting. So I definitely recommend reading about good breathing and breathing exercises and doing them every day. I try to do every day while I'm laying in bed before I get out of bed in the morning. I do at least 5. I should do 10. I try to have a better goal than that, but do 5 deep breaths in through the nose, hold it, and then out through the mouth. Try to do that in the morning. Try to do that at night. And you should see, I'll challenge you. Try to do more deep breathing in the morning and just see if you hit that snooze button. You may see that you won't. So, interesting. Then we have fasting. So fasting's incredible. I mean, biblically, it's all throughout the Bible, right? Daniel fasted. Amazing things can happen when you fast. In America, we don't have disease of third world nations. It's not about malnutrition, right? It's not about people starving to death. It's about overabundance. We have too much. Our liver's overloaded. Our organs are overloaded. And this puts so much pressure on our body. So fasting and letting your stomach rest is huge because it goes on and on. It doesn't stop, Giving it a rest. And people think, oh, fasting, I can't do that. I can't do, 1 day, 3 days, 21, whatever, people you've heard about with fasting. But you can even fast just from chocolate. You could fast from media. It doesn't have to be fasting completely from food. But this fasting helps us discipline. It helps discipline us, and it helps us get closer to the Lord. It helps our thinking get clearer. It's amazing. Who would have thought just some chemicals in foods can actually distort our thinking and our ability to be calm, to be collective, to be focused. So if you have any questions about fasting, please talk to me afterwards. You can email me. I do recommend a book called Toxic Relief. That is by Don Colbert. And it has amazing information in it. And I've learned from that because I've been fasting for a lot of years. But, keep learning. Because sometimes, fasting with just water is not the answer. Sometimes you do need juicing. So there's other ways to do it. But it's very helpful. And you'll hear nowadays, I'm intermittent fasting. So you hear it now. The world caught on to God's plan, right, with fasting. I just have to say with intermittent fasting, I think fasting is good, just like I was talking. But I would recommend when you intermittent fast to do it later on in the day because as the day goes on, we're more insulin resistant. And it's harder for us because we can store excess carbs as fat. So if you do it later in the day, the fasting, it's better for us. And we don't want to be eating things before we go to bed anyway. Because what happens at night is our body holds on to the important information that we learned for that day. It does a selection process, and it holds on what's important, and it needs energy to do that. It needs energy to help our muscles and repair our body, right? And if we're eating at 8 o'clock at night and we go to bed at 9, what's our body doing? You know what it's doing? It's actually taking all that energy that would be used to help with restoration of sleep, and it's actually getting rid of all of the nutrients that we ate with digestion. So very interesting. The next thing we're going to talk about is dry brushing. And I have a dry brushing exfoliating hydro towel here, and I also have a brush. And this is something that is actually a way that you can detox. What dry brushing does is it actually helps get rid of old dead skin cells, and it helps new skin cells come to light. and that's amazing. And it's rejuvenating, and it helps our lymph system, and it takes like 2 to 3 minutes a day. The best time to do it is before you shower and in the morning, because you do get rejuvenated. And you can do it like actually in the shower, so those dead skin cells don't have to go on your floor. They could just be carried away down the drain with the water. We do, I believe, have a video for that. Let's find it. Sorry. I guess, do I have it? I think I do. You know what? We will show that video in a little bit. I'll figure out where that is. All right. You know, why be perfect, right? Why have it all together? The next thing we're going to talk about is essential oils. As you came in to register today for this presentation, there's essential oil lemon, and it was diffusing. And that's called aromatherapy, where the lemon actually goes into olfactory, and it actually helps you feel relaxed and calm and alert. Essential oils could do wonderful things with aromatherapy. This next screen right here, it actually shows that oregano, rosemary, lemon, cinnamon, clove, tea tree, frankincense, and myrrh, those are all immune-powered essential oils. There's also thieves' oil or on guard. Okay, those essential oils, they actually contain antimicrobial compounds to combat bacteria and viruses. Isn't it amazing? So like, for instance, if you get an antibiotic for a bacterial infection, that antibiotic may actually work because the bacteria is outside the cell. But viruses are inside the cell, and the antibiotic will not go into the cell for viruses. That's why the doctor doesn't give the antibiotics when you have viruses. So why not try essential oils, right? I mean, it's amazing. They're not that expensive. They're really, they're very, very medicinal. So I do recommend 2 companies. One is Young Living and one is doTERRA. And I think that the reason I recommend those is because they have third-party testing for impurities, because there's a lot of controversy out there about essential oils. And basically it's because they may have found like a couple impurities in other essential oils if they're not pure, 100% pure and therapeutic. So I do recommend them, and I think that there's a place for them for sure for healing. One example is to massage 3 to 4 drops on the thymus, throat, bottoms of the feet, or elsewhere. When you put essential oils on your feet, it just exacerbates the effect because of the way it's transmitted. So, and the other thing is you want to make sure that you're not allergic to an essential oil. So I tell people that if you want to, rub a little olive oil or coconut oil with the essential oil and just test it on your skin and make sure that you react okay to it. So if you don't know a lot about essential oils, start with the aromatherapy and see if you can see an effect with different scents that you put in the diffuser. I like to clean with essential oils, so I'll use like lemongrass and lemon, and I also put in eucalyptus and peppermint. And I will make like a cleaner for the house. It's amazing what you can do with them because they do actually kill germs. It's amazing. All right. So the next thing we have are antioxidants. Yay! Takes us back to nutrition. So we hear antioxidant, right? What does this mean? You always hear antioxidants. It's like, what does it really mean? So antioxidants, so it's against oxidation. So we don't want our cells to oxidize. We don't want our bodies to oxidize. What happens with oxidation is something simple. So let's pretend we have an apple and we cut it in half. What happens to the apple? It gets brown because it's open to air and it starts oxidizing and breaking down, right? So we don't want our bodies to break down like that, right? So we need antioxidants. We need these fruits and veggies and these colorful, amazing plant-based foods. So that's what is very important. Also, lemon. We talked about lemon, the essential oil that's diffusing back there. Lemon is just, even when you cut open a lemon, even an orange, like a lemon orange, when you cut it open, it's so refreshing. You actually smell that, and it changes the way you feel. It's unbelievable. So lemon is really good. It's a neutralizer. I know some of my friends would have reflux, and I'll tell them, hey, take 2 tablespoons of lemon. Cut it open, take 2 tablespoons when you have reflux. And they look at me like, are you kidding me? Isn't lemon acidic? No, it actually neutralizes. It neutralizes the acid. It's amazing. So lemon is really important for our body. Lemon, we could go on and on, but we'll talk more about vitamin C in a minute. And Amanda will also be talking about lemon and making some good recipes with it. Then we also have veggies. So veggies we'll talk about in a minute, but we'll go to vitamin C. And people always ask me, like, what is the best source of vitamin C, right? And I say Christ. Christ is the best, right, source of vitamin C, right? Hands down. But honestly, vitamin C there's so many different, you go to like CVS, GNC, even online, at VitaCost, all these different places, and you are overwhelmed with the amounts of different kinds of vitamin C's, right? And it's like, which one do I pick? So Camu powder is the one I recommend. It's really high in vitamin C. It is something that's really easy. You can put it in your smoothies. You could put it in your, you could use it as a powder. I think it even comes in like a tablet form if you wanted that. But Camu is the highest vitamin C, and it's just wonderful. So I totally recommend using Camu. The next thing I would say is people are like, well, how about ester C? Well, ester C is better than just regular vitamin C because vitamin C is acidic and it could hurt people's digestive system, right? So ester C is something that actually buffers with calcium, and what it does is it helps not have that acidic effect on the belly. So ester C would be heading in the right direction. And then also there will be vitamin C with bioflavonoids. So what's that? So vitamin C with bioflavonoids is actually, what the bioflavonoids are, it's like antioxidants that actually help enhance the absorption of vitamin C. So that's another winner, right? So why not take vitamin C with bioflavonoids because it's even enhancing the absorption. And then we have liposomal vitamin C. And you're like, what is that? Another form? The list goes on and on and on. It's a very money-making industry out there, I'll tell you. But anyway, it uses a phospholipid bilayer formed around the vitamin C, so it's protected, and it doesn't have any damage during digestion. What's really interesting, we're talking about all this stuff about like, vitamin C and ingesting it down the digestive system and stuff like that, but hey, what about juicing, right? Juicing goes right to your cells. You don't have to worry about digestion then, right? So with juicing, you could juice things with vitamin C, and how amazing is that? Just using like regular fruits and veggies that are high in vitamin C. So my recommendation would be, the Camu. It has the highest vitamin C. It's from Brazil, South America. It's 60 times more vitamin C than an orange. It has really high flavonoids, the antioxidant, and like I said before, tablet or powder, and 1 teaspoon is worth like 682 milligrams of vitamin C. So it's something that I highly recommend. Right now what's happening with this pandemic, taking vitamin C because our body needs it. We need this protection. It's very, very important. All right. This towel must be very heavy. I love it. I know I have lead in my towel when I get on the scale, so I get it. All right, so veggies. Here we go. Yay, veggies. Onions are amazing. Onions are full of vitamin C. They're antiviral. If you steep a raw onion, slice overnight in honey, it could be your natural cough syrup. I challenge all of you to try that. Add to herbal teas to fight inflammation and help asthma. Make onion broth, add veggies, garlic, cayenne. Heat kills virus. How about it? Heat, think about it. When we sweat, that's why fevers are good. Fevers are so important especially when we have viruses, because what's happening is our body's heating up. It's heating up everything. It's heating up that virus. So you just want to be cautious and make sure that the fever doesn't go very high. But fevers are your friend. So I have done a lot of onions, used a lot of onions. Actually, even if you cut like a half an onion and you put it in the oven for 15 minutes, it gets hot. And what happens is if you have an ear infection, you can actually put your ear on that sliced part of the onion, and it actually takes some of that pus and stuff out of your ear to help you heal. It's amazing, and it's just an onion, you know? So these are simple remedies that actually will help your body and your immune system. So onions are just key. I'm planting onions, I'm buying onions, I just always have onions. And onions for asthma and respiratory issues are so key. Like if you chop up an onion and you actually steep some tea, it doesn't really matter, just as long as it's an herbal tea, because we know black tea isn't healthy. What you want to do is you can actually then drain out the onions and just use that broth, that onion broth with the tea. And when I do it, I use mint tea and red clover, and I really feel like when I give it to others in my family that they really can't taste that. It's not that bad with the onion, and you add a little local honey and it's not bad. So that's something that you can do. And I always say if you add a little cayenne, it's even better. Because cayenne, what it does is it actually breaks down mucus. So very interesting. Cruciferous veggies, we have broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage, bok choy, arugula, Brussels sprouts, collards, watercress, radish, kale. This all increases calcium absorption, which is an amazing nutrient, and we need a lot of calcium in our bodies. We need it for that vitamin D. So if you're getting sun and getting vitamin D supplementation, all that stuff, without proper calcium, it's not going to help you. Okay? Build strong bones. Cruciferous veggies calm nerves, reduce pain, and more. Can you believe vegetables do that? Like, isn't it amazing? But we also don't want to overcook them. We don't want to boil veggies to death. So, you know, it's important to have a good amount of raw vegetables, raw plant food in your diet, okay? The goal, I would say, is 80. I try to make it over 50. If I'm 51%, I'm like, yes. So anyway, use a juicer and juice. How many of you juice? That's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's great. You're probably thinking, well, why can't I just throw some healthy things in a blender, right? You can, and that's a smoothie. That's wonderful. You can do that. Smoothies just require digestion. So if you have bad digestion, which a lot of us don't even know we do have bad, and usually people here in America, like, we do suffer from a lot of digestive disorders, especially heartburn and reflux, and we can go on and on and on about the issues with digestion. But however, if you're able to do smoothies, that's wonderful, because you can get like your 9 fruits and veggies in a day then, right? Thank goodness for a blender. But the better thing is if you can do some juicing also. The juicing, like I said before, goes right into the cells for healing and for nourishment. So some juice like carrot, beet, cucumber, or cabbage, carrot, celery, parsley, these are all immune boosters. So if you wanted to start somewhere, that's where to start. I know my husband really enjoys carrot juice, so I make that frequently. We put a little celery in it. I know Esoteric loves her cucumbers, and she puts that in there. And I just think juicing is important. And beets are a blood purifier, so why not use some of those? And some of the, there's herbs too. You know, how easy is it to grow herbs? So we have parsley and basil, and we have dill, and the list goes on. Cilantro, because cilantro is even something that gets rid of heavy metals. How cool is that? You can use cilantro. You know, make a lot of guacamole with cilantro. We have a salsa recipe you'll see with cilantro, and it gets rid of heavy metals, which we don't need in our bodies, because that will hurt our immune system, right? Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is garlic. Yay. And you're probably like, don't sit by me if you're eating that, right? But anyway, garlic is so powerful, and this is probably one of my favorite things to do. So if anybody gets some sniffles in our house, what we do is we take a clove of garlic, we mix it with 8 ounces of distilled water, and we blend it up, and you can actually sip it, and it really helps break things down, and it actually can be used as like an antibiotic. So garlic is amazing. If we don't have time for that, we have done the Clark garlic that you can get, and that also is helpful. But of course, the food garlic is the best. So you want to do that. Some people will actually claim, too, with wild garlic, I've seen people actually take some out and actually just suck on it then, the back of their mouth by their gum. And that actually helps get rid of bacteria. Because what happens with bacteria and viruses, it's a lot in our mouths and in our throats and that area. So it is interesting. So add crushed raw to salsa. You'll see out there if you got the salsa recipe. It's wonderful because it's very high it has garlic, it has onions, it has lemon, it has cayenne. I mean, it's just wonderful. So it's going to heat you up, too, to kill a virus. But you could amend that as you need to. But why not use some of these remedies in foods that we're going to eat anyway, right? So that's it on garlic. But garlic is amazing. So garlic is one of your best friends, even though your best friend might not want to smell you after you're eating garlic. Okay, then here we have 2 natural flu shot recipes. So this is things that when flu season comes around, which is right around the corner, that you want to make up. So one is saying and I know Amanda's going to give some too, but these are just with lemons and ginger and honey and cayenne, pineapple juice. And the other one is with honey, garlic, and onion, lemons, and they add horseradish and peppermint oil and cayenne. So my advice is to try some of these things and see which one you like the best and, go from there. The next thing I want to talk to you about is we have onion soup. It's an onion soup recipe, and this is taken from AWHN. It's 1 large onion chopped, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 stalk of celery, and you can use some red or orange pepper. You can add condiments like allspice or turmeric, ginger, and cayenne, and combine all this in a glass or stainless steel pot and simmer for about 20 minutes. This is awesome. First of all, if you're making this broth, what it's doing is you're drinking something hot. And what does hot do? We just said it kills viruses, right? So you're drinking that, plus you have the cayenne heat, which is amazing, and then you have onions, which are loaded with vitamin C, and garlic, which kills bacteria and helps fight infections, right? And then it's just, the list goes on. So these are just really cool things that we need to be doing now. And then little laughter here, right? Knock, knock. Who's there? Onion. Yep. On your mark, get set, go. It just brings me back to my childhood. But it's a cute little onion, right? The next thing we're going to talk about is herbs. So there's an array of herbs. There's so many herbs. And honestly, I get overwhelmed with the amount of herbs. There is so many that are so healing. So I just like to take 5 or 6 and get really familiar with those, and then just focus on those as the healing herbs that I'll use. So anyway, golden seal and echinacea, astragalus, elderberry, ginger, aloe vera, and cayenne. Does anybody use any of those? Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Yay. So we have golden seal. It combines well with echinacea. It's antiseptic, immune stimulating. It contains berberine. Yay! It destroys bacteria, fungi, viruses, and tumor cells. Isn't that amazing? In one herb? That's unbelievable. And then with echinacea, and I grow echinacea, I think it would be great if other people can grow echinacea. It's very easy to grow, and it multiplies, and you can give some to your neighbor, and the list goes on. It's like a pay it forward kind of thing. But they're beautiful flowers. They're also known as cone flowers. It strengthens the immune system against germs, bacteria, and cold viruses. It contains paparin, which stimulates the immune system. The root extracts contains antiviral activity. It's amazing. Based on research, it shows that you shouldn't take echinacea all the time. It's better if you just do it for 10 days, and then there's other research that says that you don't want to take it for more than 6 weeks. So depending on your ailment, it would be wise to look into that if you're taking it for an extended period of time. So I usually try to take some of this stuff periodically. So for a week, take some. And there's wonderful, wonderful echinacea teas. I mean, I really like using herbs as a tea a lot. So astragalus, it's a heart health herb. It stimulates the immune system. It reduces allergies, stress, and aging. It helps with sleep issues. You want to avoid if you have fever. If you're pregnant, I'm sorry, I didn't show you these, but now I did. To avoid if you have fever, pregnant, and autoimmune disease. So that's astragalus, as you see it grown there. And I have to show you the beautiful picture of echinacea. So we're going backwards a little bit. Isn't that pretty? I love it. And my dog loves it. I can tell, like, if my dog's not feeling well, it'll start chewing on some of the echinacea leaves. It's amazing. And then there's golden seal. Thank you so much. Compliments of Earl and his wonderful technology there. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is elderberry. Yay! Elderberry is amazing with viruses. So I recommend that if you do not have elderberry, that would be wise to get some elderberry syrup or extracts. You can get it combined with ginger if you like, but elderberry is very good at helping with viruses and getting rid of them. So it contains 2 compounds to fight flu-type viruses. You can make teas from the herb, but be careful if you have elderberry plant or anything like that. The stems are poisonous. I've done that once before. I didn't try the stem, but I did have to get rid of them, and they're tedious. So that's why when you buy elderberry, that's why it's so expensive. It's very tedious. So you could do the syrup or the tincture. Prevents the virus from attacking the lungs. So how awesome is that, right? And there's also Sambucol, which is an Israeli drug that contains the elderberry. I'm sure you've seen it if you've gone to a healthy food store. But there's all kinds of different elderberries out there, and I think it's very important that you do that. You can take elderberry like a couple times a week if you want to boost up your immune system. I know that if you are starting to feel like you may have something, make sure you take it daily. And then if you truly have something you're fighting, you should take it like 3 times a day. So elderberry is very, very a wonderful herb. Yep. And then we have, the next one is ginger root. And you can see there's some ginger root out there at the table. And ginger root is so cheap, right? Like, come on. Like, we could be using this all the time. And ginger is amazing, too. Did you know that ginger could actually help some people if they have, like, food allergies? So if somebody didn't have, like, an EpiPen or something, it may help if you had ginger around. Ginger also is really good for dizziness. It's good for the stomach. You could just make tea with boiled water and have a few tablespoons of shredded ginger. Add ginger to juicing or smoothies. Add even, you could use the root powder. I think I have the root powder out there too. It contains almost a dozen antiviral compounds. It contains sesquiterpenes that fight viruses. So how awesome is ginger? So if anybody, if you don't like drinking teas, I would recommend to start because you can get lots of ginger teas too. And it actually has a really soothing effect, ginger. And there's a little bite to it, but you could actually just water that down if it's too bitey for you. The next one is aloe vera, and this is my favorite healing plant. When I worked at Bethany Village, I think I had so many beautiful windows that I probably had like 12 or 15 aloe plants. And we give them to residents and we give them to other staff members, but the plant kept growing and growing. Now, I don't have a lot of windows right now where I live. I wish I did. They're just not at a good location for plants, so I only have a little bit of aloe. But they do like the sun, if actually indirect sun. But anyway, aloe is amazing. For any digestive issue, it flushes toxins, heals burns, wounds, acne, slows aging, restores good flora. It grows well with little maintenance. You barely have to do anything. So again, another recommendation, get an aloe plant. Because guess what? With the handout back there about what plants could help decrease the toxins in your home, aloe vera is one of them. So I highly recommend that you get an aloe vera plant, and they're very cheap. Contains micronutrients that combats free radical damage. And you can put the gel from the plant in smoothies and juices. It helps heal like any kind of boo-boos on your skin. It also helps heal your lining and your digestive system. So if anybody has heartburn, any of those things, it's very important to do aloe vera. You can put it in any of that, or you could actually buy the juice too. I recommend using the plant if you can. Just make sure that it's washed. I know that I put it on a boo-boo. My dog was actually having a growth, and I changed the dog food he was eating. I gave him filtered water instead of tap water, and a couple of antioxidants, and along with aloe vera on the wound itself, on the tumor, and it did disappear within 2 months. So I really think aloe vera is really beneficial, for sure. Then we have cayenne pepper. Like, does anybody cringe when when we go to the peppers? I want to love spicy food, I really do. And I do like a little bit, but I don't like a lot. So cayenne pepper is just so medicinal, though. Some people, though, could be sensitive to ingesting it, so you have to be careful. But really what cayenne pepper does is if you take it, it actually will heal your weakest link in your body. It's amazing. Like, it knows. It's powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. It helps digestion. It helps gas. It helps cramps, stomach pain, circulation, heart disease, lowers cholesterol, control pain, headaches. It's also been said that if someone's experienced a heart attack, that cayenne pepper can actually stop that heart attack. Also regulates blood pressure. Cayenne pepper can help stop bleeding. The list goes on. So this is something that you'll definitely want to have in your medical kit is cayenne pepper. You could buy it like 90,000, I think it's heating units. Scottish heating units is what it goes by for measurement. But cayenne pepper goes that high. So you just want to be careful and I always recommend to people, try the smaller dose, see how you do, and then increase it. But this is all actually really helpful for pain. It's amazing, right? Who would have known? Unbelievable. So there's simple immune boosting recipes. We talked about the natural flu shot recipes, the onion and garlic broth, lemon water. There's actually a handout out there for lemon water. I don't know if anybody's done like the Master Cleanse lemon water. How many people have tried it? It's lemon water, maple syrup, and you can use a sweetener. So it's like maple syrup, lemon, and also, what am I missing? Lemon, oh, you can put cayenne in it. So yeah. So that is a wonderful, it's just a wonderful way that it helps your gallbladder too if you're starting to use something like that, especially in the morning. But this is something that helps to detoxify too. Lemon water is just awesome. And then there's a recipe, like I said, for garlic salsa and the omega-3 sprinkle, which will just help the omega-3 increase in your body to help with your immunity. So here's some of the recipes. You can see them in color. So we have the salsa recipe, and then we also have the lemon maple syrup cayenne cleansing drink, which is lemon grade B, which just has more minerals, real maple syrup. It's so expensive. I wish it wasn't that expensive, but it takes a lot to make maple syrup, so that's why. Cayenne pepper, distilled water, and then we also have the flax nut sprinkle recipe, which is just ground walnuts, flax meal, and you can have sweetener in it, xylitol stevia, or you can use date sugar, 1/8 of a teaspoon of sea salt for your liking if you like that, and you can mix it, and you can put it on toast, whole grains, oatmeal, like any kind of zucchini, banana bread. You can put it on non-dairy yogurt. It makes about 9 tablespoons. You can just store it and put it in your fridge when you're done making it, and 1 tablespoon is equivalent to 857 milligrams of omega-3. And this was adapted from Neil Nedley and his book, The Depression, The Way Out. All right, we're getting to the close because we're going to talk about hydrotherapy boost. And could we put on the dry brushing? See if it's right here. Here it is right here. We'll watch it right now. So I want to show you what the dry brushing actually looks like, because it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to see it. So here we go. Is there a volume on there? I don't know if she's speaking or not. There you go. Oh, there's not. She's not speaking, it's music. So she's sweeping like towards her heart. Very simple, only 2 to 3 minutes, if that, before you take a shower. So that's it. And you'll really be energized, rejuvenated. It's just a wonderful way to help your lymph system. It's a wonderful way to detox and increase your immunity. So how easy does that look? Very easy, right? You just want to make sure that you wash and sterilize to your brush, or your towel, whatever you want to use for exfoliation. The next things I'm just going to wrap up probably in the next 5 minutes. We're just going to talk about hydrotherapy. Okay, so I talked a little bit about it before, but we have just the contrast shower, we have a hot foot bath, a Russian steam bath, and just regular baths. How many people here take a bath? Anybody do baths at all? Oh, wow, you jump right in the shower and go, huh? Boy, we need to relax. Yep, I think we need to relax. So just so you know, being immersed in a warm or hot water increases body temperature, right, which we all know is good for viruses, increase blood flow around the circulatory system, and it also alleviates pain. A warm foot bath can make your blood flow easier and more oxygenated. It helps you breathe deeper and slower. A neutral bath, right, for 40 to 90 minutes helps with sedation. Did you know long ago that insane asylums and things like that, where they didn't have these drugs that we have now, that this is what they used? Some of them use for sedation warm baths and this hydrotherapy. And it actually helped people change. The chemicals, it helped them change and be relaxed and be calm. So this is amazing, especially now. You put on the news, you know, you look at, it's just, right now there's just so much adversity and so much sadness and so much negativity that we need to take baths. Well, what we need to do is we really need to change and be happy and be optimistic. And, you know, if it does require taking a bath to lift our spirit, it requires it. Why not, right? It's something simple and it's something cheap. So that's really important to stimulate your blood circulation. You want to be careful if you have any heart disorders because baths, it just being, if they're too hot, you just want to be careful with that, with any heart disorders. But it also, we talked about, it helps your mood and relaxes you. It relieves pain, helps with better sleep. So it could actually help produce melatonin due to a drop in body temperature before you go to bed. So if you take a hot bath, right, and the bath obviously is really hot, and of course, to your comfort, but when you're done taking a bath and you wrap yourself up and stuff like that, your body temperature drops, right, which will produce melatonin, which makes you tired. So what a wonderful way to help with insomnia and just be able to go to sleep. So that is about the baths and how important they are. The other one is we have the contrast shower. Has anybody ever tried a contrast shower? Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. Yes. So there's a wonderful handout out there about the contrast shower. And I didn't even realize this, and I've been doing contrast showers for a while. Basically, I don't do it all the time, 3 times. You're supposed to do it 3 times. But you can actually get benefits if you do it once. So if you take a shower and you put the hot water on at least for 3 minutes, and then you can turn the cold on at least for 30 seconds. And you can start with your legs and up your spine and stuff like that. But at least for 30 minutes, that actually helps invigorate cells and stimulate circulation and stuff like that. Helps white blood cells and a lot of immune boosting effect for your body. So you can do that 3 times is optimal, but I did not know that each time you do it, you should put like the hot water hotter if you can, stand it. You don't want to burn yourself, and the cold water colder as you can stand it. So very interesting, but there's information about there, and there's some contraindications, so just make sure you check that out. A hot foot bath. How easy is that, right? Putting our feet in hot water. You know, did you realize a hot foot bath can actually help take away headaches and migraines and things like that? So I don't know, did anybody ever buy one of those, like, you know, like it's a foot bath, and it, you know, has bubbles, and, you know, they used to, put them on QVC and sell them. But I use that a lot, for sure, especially if somebody has congestion in our family. You could actually add some mustard to it. But what happens is that the congestion from the head or the ailment will actually go towards where it's hot, inflammation. So those white blood cells will help become rejuvenated. So that's, a hot foot bath is great. It's great to stimulate the immune system. So there's an awesome handout. Make sure you get that for hot foot bath. And then lastly, we'll talk about the Russian steam bath. And a Russian steam bath is one I really loved when I learned about it. It's actually, there's the handout on that too, but it's actually where you have a drape and you're sitting down. Basically, you're promoting your own like sauna, your own like steam sauna. And we know how great that sauna is with steam. Exhalation helps that your body opens up, right? And gets the impurities out. And this is a way that you have steam that goes under this drape and helps you sweat. And it actually, you do it for like 20 minutes or so, but there's information on that. You just really want to be careful, and you really want to read about these hydrotherapy treatments and just make sure that you understand them. And also, you don't want to do them on yourself. You want to make sure that you have somebody who's knowledgeable to help you with that. And if somebody's not, why don't you start with yourself and try to really get familiar with them. But I think as far as hydrotherapy goes, I think the contrast shower, the hot foot bath, the Russian steam bath, I think these are also medicinal, as well as hot, warm, and cold baths for your body and stimulating your immune system. So we have one more thing here. I'll show you. Oops, hold on here. Little joke. So I love this one. Avocados are funny, aren't they? They're the best. So we're going to end with that. And anybody have any questions? Not too many people fell asleep, which is great. I don't know about you streaming, if you people streaming are awake or not. But I was so happy to be able to present this seminar on immune system, and it's the best personal protective equipment that we can have. And if there's no questions right now, oh, there are. Yeah. Right. From my knowledge I think you could use them interchangeably. I just think with lime, of course there's different tastes, but as far as the medicinal effects, I think that they're both beneficial. I think that lime, for a lot of this use, it just doesn't give enough as much juice as a lemon does. Okay, so when you say purified, how is it purified? Okay, reverse osmosis. So that is good. That's you're headed in the better direction, but it's still not as good as distilled. And when you distill your water, do you have a distiller or do you buy it? Because I found that distilled water tastes like whatever is in it. Yeah, absolutely. You shouldn't buy distilled water with plastic containers because plastic containers have dioxides, and so the water is just leaching all those dioxides anyway. So the best thing to do, and Luke knows, McKenna knows, is to get a distiller. And if you need information on that, they really don't cost that much for what they give you. You really don't have to buy any more water. You just make it there. And it's unbelievable. Like, I wasn't a believer at first because I'm like, well, you need minerals and you need this. But the more I studied it, the more it makes sense, especially the impact that it has on your body as far as giving you more energy. It's interesting, too, because when I had the distiller and I used it and I smelled what it smelled like inside after, it is atrocious. You would not believe what the water smells like. It's unbelievable. And what do you think of alkaline water? I think your body needs to be, with your pH, it's around 6.4. And that's by saliva and urine, and you could test your own pH. And I think that if you have too much alkalinity in your body, that's not good either. Good question. But if you are more acidic and you test yourself with pH strips, you can test yourself like an hour or two after you eat just to see what your pH is. And if you are more acidic, that alkaline water can help you. The other thing too, with you don't want to drink lemon water, alkalizing water all the time. It is too much. But if you need it to help your body transition to a better state with your pH, I think it's important. Anybody else? Yes. Cayenne pepper. Yes. I was going to take some of that this summer when I had issue. Okay. When I had COVID. Yes. And I read where if I have a pacemaker, I read where if you have a pacemaker, you should stay away from that. Yeah. So any of these natural remedies that God's given us are amazing for anybody, but the problem lies is when we have a change in our body, or if we are on medication and things like that, we really have to take each person as a case study and really know what's going to be the effect, because things just cannot work for everybody. Everybody's different. And with that pacemaker, and like I said before, it's a blood pressure regulator. So there could be an issue with a pacemaker and something else when you're taking cayenne, and that's something that a naturopath, a doctor, a homeopathic physician, like all these people can really look at your case, Dean, and really see what is more optimal for you. So that is a great question, because honestly, that's one of the things that as I venture into my own practice with becoming a naturopath, I feel like there is a little bit of barrier with people who are on medications, and they also have things like pacemaker and different things on their body, which we want to make sure that these natural things work for you and not against you. So that is just a wonderful question. I'm glad you brought that up. Very important. All right, so we're going to break for about 15 minutes around there, and then we have Amanda LaCamera, and she's going to be talking about natural remedy applications. So get excited. She's going to be doing like 3 or 4 different recipes that you can use, in your daily walk, as far as preventative measures, and also for things that you're dealing with, if there's any ailments. So stick around. It's going to be awesome, and I appreciate everybody coming. Thanks. Oh, and we will give a door prize at the end of Amanda's session. So everybody, hopefully you filled in a registration form, and we'll be picking a door prize. Yes. Sure. Yep. It's really, maple syrup has a lot of minerals. It's just a different makeup than honey. Local honey is like amazing, and it helps with a lot of different things too, but like I feel like they're both different, so it depends on your liking. Yeah. Yep. But that's why they say
it regularly, but he gave me just 2 herbs. It was very simple and quite tasty. It was easy and painless, and what I loved was that before I was taking in synthetic or lab-produced hormones, and I was taking in herbs I was not taking in hormones, but the herbs started working with my body to produce exactly what I needed, which my body was unable to do by itself. But I loved that I wasn't just taking it in, the herbs were helping my body to do its job. And that, for me, just completely changed my outlook on natural remedies. It is absolutely God-given and very powerful. And I think that I love that it is simple, it is easy to use, it's cheap, and there is so much that we can do. And I just love also the blessing and the privilege to share that with others, to minister to others. There's such a beauty in becoming more knowledgeable about these things. And today what I want to share with you is more specific, sort of focusing on the theme of infectious diseases, given the pandemic that we're going through, and as we head into the flu season, I really wanted to share some practical things that you can do to help as we head into that season. There's 2 verses that I hope you can read well, but that I really love. One is Psalm 104:14 that says, "He, God, causes the grass to grow for the cattle and herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food from the earth." And I just love that. God gave us the herbs for our service. They're really for our benefit. And what a blessing we can partake of or be missing out, whether we choose to try it out. The second one is Psalm 103:5. It says, still talking about God, who satisfies your mouth with good things so that your youth is renewed like the eagles. And I love that. God's ideal for us is that we are in health and that we have full and long lives. And so I want to go through the ingredients that we're going to be using today, and then we'll go into some recipes. And I have a handout outside along with Jen's handouts with all of the recipes. But the first one is lemon, and lemon really is called the miracle fruit, which is so amazing. It is high in antioxidants, vitamin C. It's an antibiotic, antiviral, antiseptic, astringent, and so much more. And so even just starting the day with some warm lemon water to sort of get your system started is so beneficial. But lemon can just give us that immune boosting that can help us to prevent sickness or to treat it once we are sick. The next one is grapefruit, and it took me forever to try grapefruit. I'm from Brazil originally, so we did not have grapefruit in Brazil, but I am in love with grapefruit now. It also has powerful antioxidants. It's an effective antibiotic, immune boosting, a toxin eliminator, helps to cleanse the liver, lowers bad cholesterol, and naturally burns body fat. I've heard it said that it's sort of like your arteries Drano. It really helps to get out any coagulation. I also was reading a study even relating the power of that, not only with helping our body to dispel fat, but also preventing blood clotting, which is really amazing. The next one is oranges, which are just so high in vitamin C and A. They help to reduce mucus, which is great because when we think about what we're learning about this virus that's going on right now, is it increases the mucus production in the body. And orange is really amazing to help reduce that. It has essential vitamin contents, antioxidant, even protein, which is amazing, right? You wouldn't expect it, but water and fiber, lots of fiber. And that's in all the citruses and lots of fruits and vegetables, will really help with our fiber consumption. Then garlic. Garlic is amazing. It's, Jen was talking about it. It's a natural antibiotic. Boosts the immunity, cleanses and thins the blood, and so that's really helpful even for people with high blood pressure. It aids the lymphs in eliminating toxins. It lowers cholesterol, and studies have even showed that it can block the growth of cancer cells, which is amazing, and it kills bacteria. So we're going to be using that. And I think that I used to hate raw garlic, but it's not so bad. And it can be quite delicious, actually, in one of the recipes we're going to do. And I think Jen showed a very similar one with pineapple juice. It really is not so offensive. Then onion. Onion is incredible. It brings relief to the respiratory system. It is a drawer, so if there's a bad smell in your fridge, even if you just leave a half-cut onion in there, it'll remove the smell. I have also used it when I'm congested, and I just slice it very thinly and leave a little bowl of it next to my bed. I can actually sleep through the night without any issues, and I wake up not feeling just very congested, because if I go to sleep with nothing and I'm already a little stuffy in the morning, it's very difficult to breathe, and you wake up breathing through your mouth. The onion just helps you sleep well.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I was told that even putting a slice of onion on the bottom of your foot with a sock on it really helps to relieve alarms. Is that true?
That is true, yeah. Thank you for sharing that too. That is incredible, yeah. The other thing that I've also used, which I have on here, relieves congestion, reduces inflammation, lowers blood pressure, raises HDL cholesterol. I mean, it's pretty incredible. And when it comes to inflammation, one thing that I've tried is when I had a sore throat, I've also sliced it very thinly. I had one of those, they're sort of like this blue mesh cloth that you can get usually like for the kitchen, just a brand new one, and I put the sliced onions very thinly in the middle, wrapped it around my neck like a scarf, slept through the night, which is beautiful. It's just so challenging when you have a cough and you're trying to go to sleep. It wakes you up in the middle of the night, and I was just praising God to be able to sleep through the night with a sore throat. Ginger, also just so powerful, anti-inflammatory. It helps to soothe the stomach, relieves migraines, reduces clotting in the blood, and even helps with arthritis. We're going to be using some ginger today as well. Pineapple, I absolutely love pineapple. It's amazing that I was reading a study that talks about how pineapple helps to keep our bones strong. Because we often hear about calcium. Our bones are made up of calcium so much, but it also needs manganese to produce strong bones. Manganese is used in the body to make collagen, and collagen is used to then build up our bones, our cartilage, our skin. So very helpful for that. It improves digestion, eases inflammation, and relieves cold symptoms. So we're going to be using some pineapple to really make this a pleasant experience. As we're taking medication, it's quite delicious. And then cayenne pepper, also anti-inflammatory, boosts the immune system, antifungal, amazing stimulant of the circulatory system. And that is really the key, is the life is in the blood, right? And so when we're sick, we need good circulation. And cayenne pepper really does that. It dilates our blood vessels, and it helps to improve circulation throughout the body. It clears congestion, also very high in vitamin A. And raw honey. It also has antioxidants, nutritional components that are very incredible. It's antibacterial. I found this amazing. It contains hydrogen peroxide and glucose oxidase that has a low pH level, so it can kill harmful bacteria and fungi. Isn't that amazing? And also anti-inflammatory, helps to heal wounds, relieves coughs, and treats diarrhea, and also protects the brain. with all of that. So I want to demonstrate a few things, and the first one that I want to share with you is the flu shot, and I think it's very similar to the first recipe that Jen had up there, but let's try it out. I really wish that I could pass samples to all of you guys, but at least you can see how simple and easy it is, and I hope that you'll give it a try. What we're going to be using is, we're just going to put everything in the blender. Oop. Where did it go? Oh, thank you. So we're going to use a whole bulb of garlic. So I peel the garlic, and it's about 10 to 12 cloves of garlic, depending on how big they are. Very true. Do you plant it?
I'm going to be. I tried before unsuccessfully, but I'm going to get some seeds and do it.
Very neat. And then it is, we want to use 1 cup of fresh lemon juice, which is going to be 6 fresh lemons. And so just bear with me as I squeeze it. Has anybody ever tried this or something similar?
Squeeze the lemons to make fresh lemonade.
Fresh lemonade is delicious. So with the flu shot, you can actually take it as a preventative measure, or you can take it when you're sick. And it's essentially a 2-week treatment where you're taking it a little bit every day for a period of 2 weeks, and then you stop it. You want to give your body a little break, and you can do another treatment later on. I'm sorry, actually, you take it for 1 week, you give your body at least 2 weeks break. We're almost there. I just love the smell of lemon too. And with all of this lemon, you can always zest it to bake it. You can, we're going to be talking a little bit even about cleaning, as Jen mentioned a little bit at the end of her presentation. You can use a lot of these natural things that God gave us to clean your house. Okay, so that's 6 lemons, and then we're going to use 2 teaspoons of ginger. You can use the powder, but if you have the fresh, it is much better. And it tastes delicious too. And one trick with peeling ginger, actually the best thing to peel it is actually a spoon. You don't lose as much of the flesh of the ginger, but it just scrapes the skin right off. Yeah, that's what I love about it, because with a knife, I feel like I just lose too much of the flesh, or you can always use a peeler, but I love the spoon. I'm sorry? If you have, if you know where it's coming from, or you planted it, you can use it. I tend to, especially for teas, not to drain it. For this recipe, you could actually keep it on, because you're going to be blending everything, and it's a little bit of a thicker skin. So it wouldn't be a problem leaving it on. But Very easy that way. And I'm just going to roughly chop it, and we'll throw it in there. We'll also be including some cayenne pepper. We're going to put 1/8 of a teaspoon.
Now, is that a regular blender or a Vitamix?
This one's a Vitamix. Yes. And then we're going to put 1 tablespoon of honey. So each of these components, as we were reading about them, you're really putting everything in that you really need when you're sick. You have all of this antimicrobial, all the antioxidants. Some are helping with inflammation. And I tell you, it just helps really reduce the amount of time that I'm sick. It really gives, what I really believe is the body, given the right conditions, has a lot of power to heal itself. God has really made us fearfully and wonderfully, and this is really just giving the body everything it needs to fight. And I just find that the recovery time is a lot shorter. And then the last thing is 3 cups of pineapple juice. And I think this is right about, here it is, right about 3 cups. This, I actually used canned pineapple, and normally I just get, they have those tall cans of pineapple juice, and I use that. This time, the grocery store is still missing several things, and so I got pineapple chunks in a can that was in pineapple juice, not the kind in syrup, and I blended it and strained it. You can always do it from fresh pineapples, but the pineapples at the store when I went were just looking not very ripe, so I didn't get those. Okay, and I think we have everything, so now it's really just blending it. I'm gonna turn this off just so it doesn't pick up. So for this, you would be taking 1 tablespoon daily during the flu season. So this will actually be good. When I made this recipe, both my husband and I were able to use it because there's quite a bit in here. And because we were actually feeling a little bit sick, I was taking more than a tablespoon. I actually took 1 ounce daily, and it is just delicious. It smells so good too with the pineapple juice, and so if you like ginger, you can always kick it up a notch. If you don't mind the garlic, you can always increase it a little bit, but those two, and even the cayenne pepper, you can adjust it. There are some recipes, especially with the flu balm, it uses 1/4 of a teaspoon, and there are some people that, the person who shared this recipe with me said that depending on how much you can take it, you can actually take it up to 1 teaspoon. Yes, there's a question?
I saw that you mixed quite an amount there, but probably people almost quart. How long can that sit in the refrigerator? If you're only taking 1 ounce a day, is that something that you can refrigerate?
Yeah, so you refrigerate it. What do I have on? Yeah, you refrigerate it. It lasts about 1 to 2 weeks in the fridge, and but this you can of course half the recipe, or you can just take it, you and your family, as you are, like if you're just doing a preventative, you can share it with people, and you can also freeze it if you want to just make the recipe batch, put half of it in the freezer, and then take it out later and thaw it. The other one that I think it sounds like a lot of you have tried before is the cough syrup. How many have tried the cough syrup? A couple people? Okay. Let's take a look at that. It's so simple. For the cough syrup, you're really just going to be using 1 whole onion chopped and half a cup of honey. I have also tried steaming the onion. You can actually put, there's a recipe that sort of calls for hollowing the onion, and you put all of the other ingredients inside of the outer shell, and you can put it in a steam bath and then take the liquid that's inside, but it's a little bit challenging. I ended up, as the onion steamed, I lost the liquid into my water bath, so I preferred to do it this way. It was a little bit challenging hollowing it as well. So I just roughly chopped it. I'm going to put it into a jar. And let me do the second half as well. In the meantime, are there any questions so far?
Amanda, wouldn't it be good then, maybe even to start now, where people could actually take a tablespoon because we're getting into flu season, and then they can take it for a week, and then be off for 2 weeks, and then take it for a week?
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely start now. It's always good. With the natural remedies, one thing that we often just want the results really, really quickly. And sometimes with some of these natural remedies, we're feeding our bodies and increasing our nutritional stores within the body. And so even for allergy season, I have had allergies in the spring for the last few years. And so I start early as well. And it really helps as you go into it, instead of just waiting to get into the flu season or the allergy season and start taking it. So that's a great question, a great point. Okay, so let's put all of that in here. This was actually quite a large onion. Okay. So all you want to do is put those two together and give it a stir so that the honey is really incorporated with the onions. And ideally you would want to let this sit overnight before you need to use it. But you're going to start seeing an effect even in the time that we're here talking. I'm sorry? Yeah, I'll show you. So right now, as we just put it in, you can see that it's very thick, right? I mean, honey is very thick. And so I'm just going to let this sit, and we're going to look at it towards the end of our presentation, and you're going to see it's going to be very different. The juices from the onion really come out into the honey, and it becomes very liquid. And so at the end, really what you would do is you would just strain out the honey, and that's the cough syrup that you would be taking. You can put it in a separate little jar, also keep it in the fridge, and you can discard the onions. But it's really amazing how much of the juices of the onion is in there. And if you ever, when you're cooking, if you just put a little bit of salt in the onion, you can really see you don't even need oil to cook. It just releases so much juice. all of those juices are going to be going into that honey. So while that sits, we're going to do the penicillin. And this one is also very delicious. This is one that, let's see, you would take for an adult a half a cup daily. So it's a little bit of a bigger dose, but it is just packed with nutrition. So let me just move my slides. I forgot to, for the cough syrup. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, so for the penicillin, this one we're going to be putting in some whole fruit because there's a lot of nutrition and medicinal components also in the skin and really incredible oils. So we're going to put in 1 whole orange. And I don't have any more space to, there's a little bit here, but it's going to work out together, of pineapple juice. I'm just cutting out that thicker part on the bottom and quartering it so it's a little bit easier to blend. And we're going to put in also 1 whole grapefruit.
And Amanda, best to get organic or clean the outside of the skin really good.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. You can use, if you have like a veggie wash, you can use that and leave it in a soak, or you can always use 1 part water, 1 part vinegar, and wash your fruits with that. And this grapefruit is really beautiful. I love it when it's just full of color, not like anemic. Sometimes it's so disappointing when you open a grapefruit and it looks anemic. I'm sorry?
You prefer to use the pink grapefruit versus the white?
You can use the white. I do prefer for the flavor as well, but it just has, they're similar. So 1 grapefruit, 1 orange. We're also going to put in 2 whole lemons. I'm just cutting out the ends and then cutting it in half. And then we want 3 cloves of garlic, which I still have some peeled here. I put in 4 because I had some small ones, so you can use your judgment for that. We also want half an onion. And for this, really, all you need to do is peel it and put it in the blender. We also want 3, you can use some peppermint oil here. Peppermint is really incredible also to open airways, and it helps with a lot of other things. I don't have the peppermint oil here right now, so we're going to skip that. And then you just want to use some distilled water to help the blender blend it all. Yeah. It's a little bit of work for big recompense. Let me turn this off again. And this one is all done too. So you'll see this one is a little bit, you can make it a little bit thinner, but it is going to be thicker than the flu shot. I have a little cup here. Let me just pour out so you guys can see it a little better. So as I mentioned, this one you would be taking, you don't want to store this one for too long in a glass jar for up to 2 days in the fridge. And for an adult, you'd be taking a half a cup. And so it's like a little smoothie. It's a little bit thicker, and but still quite delicious. Just loaded with things. And we can take a look at this right now. It's still working its magic, but you can see it's starting to move a little bit easier. And we'll go back to it again. Another one that I really love is, which I don't have it in the slides, but I have it in the recipe handout, which is a flu balm. This is the one that I first learned about and started using. Also really incredible for people that love teas, and especially, you know, these are good, and I like them, but sometimes you really want something warm and sort of soothing. And so the flu balm is really great, using similar ingredients. So you would use at least one clove of garlic, which you can use it on a zester to make it very fine, so you're not having big chunks in your drink. You also use a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, which you can also grate through the zester. You can use some tea tree oil if you have the kind that can be ingested. And the juice of 1 lemon, 1 tablespoon of honey, and then you just put boiling water over it. And it's a delicious tea. You can take that 2 to 3 times a day for the first day, and then as needed. And you'll see that it really warms up your body, because not only do you have the warm drink, but you also have the cayenne pepper, you have the ginger in there. So it's really, it helps you to sweat out the toxins, and I love that about it. The other thing with ginger that I wanted to mention, unrelated to the flu season, but in terms of pain, my husband had a back pain because of, it was a pinched nerve, but a lot of back pain. And so something that you could use, just a medicated patch on your back. What you can actually do is to grate ginger, again, into one of those, you know what I'm talking about, the blue mesh cloth that you can buy for the kitchen. You can also use a cut-up t-shirt. The ginger releases a lot of juice, and so you would grate part of a ginger to make however big you want the patch, but I normally, you know, made it this big for the area he was having pain in, and fold the cloth. The part that only has 1 layer of cloth goes directly on the skin, so it's the wettest part. You put some plastic wrap around it just so it doesn't get your clothes wet, and then I wrap something so it stays in place. It feels, because I've also used it on myself, it feels like your skin is burning almost. It's really pulling out the inflammation. It is not going to damage your skin, even though it feels like it's so hot. It is even hotter than if you use a medicated patch. It's just really incredible, and it really, really helps with pain. Ginger can be used internally or externally as a poultice. Same thing with the onion, as I shared before. So incredible. And like Jen was saying, I just love grating the ginger and putting it to boil with the water for whatever tea I'm using, and you can still use whatever other kind of herbs or tea bags that you want with it. But it's delicious. And ginger and turmeric go really well together. Such a great combination. That's my favorite tea, is ginger and turmeric. I love that combination. And another thing I wanted to talk about is, normally when we talk about natural remedies and we talk about sort of a more natural lifestyle, we immediately think nutrition, we think the things that we're putting in our body, we also think quite a bit about exercise. But this was a blind spot for me, which was what I'm cleaning my house with. And I also grew up struggling with eczema. And changes in my diet helped tremendously. But what I noticed, oh, I don't know what happened, sorry.
Everybody wake up.
Everybody awake, yeah. So, but what happened was I learned about vinegar and started making my own cleaning products at home. And it's like that was the last thing that my skin really needed to just fully heal. Like I said, the diet had helped so much, but you can still be putting a lot of chemicals onto your body. I mean, everything you put it into your skin, you have to know that that's gonna go in. Sorry, that was my fault. That's gonna go into your bloodstream. And so just really thinking through the kinds of personal care products that we're using, the kinds of cleaners that we're using. I find it fascinating because I grew up in a home that used a lot of bleach to clean. And I mean, when I lived in Brazil, so the houses were constructed differently, and when we're talking washing the kitchen or washing the laundry room, I'm talking we would get buckets of water, like actually wash the room and with a broom, and you're washing the floor and just tons of bleach everywhere in the laundry. And it would really hurt my skin, and especially with eczema. I've always had sensitive skin. And so I started doing some research because my mom, my grandma, they love it. And what research has shown is that in general, on average, women's respiratory health really, it's significantly impaired as they age compared to men. Because in general, the women are the primary cleaners in a home. And so it really can be harmful not just to the skin and to the blood system, but also to our respiratory health and impact our lungs. And so with using vinegar, it's amazing that it kills 99% of bacteria, 82% of mold, 80% of germs and viruses. So it's really incredible. I have on the handout some recipes to make disinfectants, even toilet bowl cleaners. You can use it all-purpose cleaner, wood polish, laundry detergent, and fabric softener. I actually don't, the only fabric softener that I use is plain white vinegar. You can use a couple of drops of, you use it as well, of essential oils. It can be lavender, eucalyptus, whatever you like. But just the plain white vinegar in the clothes, it makes them very soft. It helps them to brighten. And the smell completely goes away when you put it through the dryer. And so especially if you use a little bit of an essential oil, they come out still smelling quite refreshing. Yes?
I have a question about the vinegar.
Okay.
If you're using that to clean like your toilet and things like that, what if you're on a septic system? Is that going to interfere with the septic system?
No, so that's a great question. She was asking if you're using vinegar and you're on the septic system, is that going to interfere with it? And my understanding is that it does not. It's still a natural, it's made from, foods and plants, and it can go down the drain just fine and down to the septic. So my understanding is that it shouldn't have any problems with that. Yeah?
Is that apple cider vinegar or the white vinegar?
Good question. Just asking about whether it's apple cider or white vinegar. I use white vinegar for the clothes. The apple vinegar can leave a little bit sticky, and it's dark. It can stain something that's white. You can use apple cider vinegar to clean. I normally just use white vinegar. What I actually use the apple cider vinegar to do is to wash my hair, oftentimes. I don't know if you guys have heard, you have shampoo, you can have no poo. It's like a, new trend. And washing your hair with apple cider vinegar. I've also heard people washing their face with apple cider vinegar. It really, really cleanses it and nourishes the hair. When I use that, I don't even need conditioner. So there's just so much that you can use and really think about what's really coming into your body. This was a huge blind spot for me that has been so transformative. Are there any other questions about this? Yes.
Yeah, I've heard people say about taking like a teaspoonful of vinegar and apple vinegar and honey daily. Is that good for you, or is that just a myth?
You know, this is one that I actually really want to do some more research about. I also hear that it's really good for you. What my understanding is that white vinegar is not as good to be ingested. But I don't know much about the apple cider. I don't know if you can speak to it.
Sure. It actually is damaging, like apple cider vinegar. Any vinegar to your body, ingesting it is going to be damaging. But a lot of people get relief if they're suffering like from kidney stones or something that's ailing them when they do apple cider vinegar. So they're seeing like a difference with it breaking down and actually healing. And I think that's where it comes in. But you have to realize when you're doing something as harsh as like a vinegar in your body, it can ferment and it can cause some issues. So I always recommend lemon in place of that. Because lemon and honey is just as good.
Yeah, thank you for that. So just for the people that are watching on live stream, Jen was just sharing that vinegar is a very strong ingredient, and it creates damage internally. So for people that have kidney stones, it can provide some relief, but in general, it's not as good for us to be taking it internally. I also, every time you see it in a lot of recipes, vinegar, I just always replace it with lemon juice, the same amount, and it works perfectly.
On your natural penicillin, I know when we prescribe penicillin, you're supposed to prescribe this for so many days, otherwise the bacteria can become immune to it. What do you do with that?
Yeah, so great question. In terms of the penicillin and I think even really the flu shot is, can your body become used to it? Do you need to take it for a little bit of time and take a break? I'd say with anything, your body can get used to it, and you want to give yourself a little break. It also doesn't last that long, so you want to take it for a couple of days. But I think one thing that's really helpful is, because everybody's different and you can be sick to a different degree, or a different part of the body is suffering an ailment. And so it's really important, I think, to also listen to your body and just see how you're feeling every day. But after you take it for a few days, you want to give yourself a break, come back to it later, just like this one where I said you want to take it for no more than a week. Give yourself at least 2 weeks, and then you can come back to it. It helps to do that. But whether you are taking it once or twice a day, or or more, that would really depend on how you're feeling every day. And I think your body can tell you that as well. Did I see a hand over here? Yes.
Raw honey, you can get that in the store?
Yeah, so raw honey, you really want to use raw and unfiltered honey, because it's really going to have more of the nutritional content of the honey, and you can find that at the store. Did I hear something? Yeah, it'll have more of the propolis, the pollen, and it's more therapeutic.
Yeah, like your local markets, like Brown's.
So just taking a look at our cough syrup, you can see just how easy it's flowing now. So a lot of the juices from the onion are now well incorporated into the honey, and it's just going to continue to do that if you leave it overnight. And then once you strain it, it's just going to be powerful but still like quite tasty cough syrup. I find that so amazing how much juice is in the onion and how well it incorporates into the honey. Let's see. This was really all that I wanted to demonstrate. Are there any more questions? Yes?
The dark maple syrup,
Yeah, so Jen was sharing a little bit about this before the break. Somebody had the same question. They're different. They come from different sources. And so they have different compositions and they have different beneficial components in them. But they're both, as long as, again, they're not too processed, very, very beneficial. I actually like using both. I think maybe you've shared before about agave syrup. That one has a higher glycemic index, right? I don't know if, do you use that?
What are you talking about, right?
Yes.
It's just, agave, like, doesn't, it's saying that it's, like, pure, but there's been sources that show that it's really not what it's cracked up to be. So, yeah, it seems to be really cautious with that.
Yeah, so with the agave, it cannot be fully pure. And so I usually go with both honey and maple. Use them for different things, and they both provide different beneficial components. I think that he's going to be talking about a first aid kit tomorrow. I'm sure he's going to talk about cayenne pepper. But this is also one that when you have poor circulation, if you have cold feet a lot, this is another one that you can put on the bottom of your feet and really helps with the circulation. I don't think you want to do this all night, but it can help with that. If there is, if you get a major cut, you can also use that on there. It helps to stop the bleeding. As Jen was saying, I've also heard people that actually used it at the time of a heart attack, and you have to have somebody helping a person who is going through a heart attack, but you can give them a teaspoon into their mouth, and it really, really helps with the circulation. So these are just powerful things. I'm just so grateful for God's way of healing, that it's accessible to all. It's easy, and just leads us to reflect on how wonderfully we're made and how he created us to be in health. So I hope that you'll take a look and give it a try for some of these recipes. I hope it's a blessing to you. I just want to say thank you again for having me. I wish I would have put my contact information on there, but you can always reach me through Jen. She has my information. We serve at Adventist Whole Health Network, we serve the conference as the Department of Health Ministries. So just so glad to meet you all, and hope to work with you more in the future as well. Thank you so much.